What up, what up, what up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, and I'm here with my guys, the Horsemen. We back, baby, after a 2 week layoff. Adam Costas, Zion Zenith, and y'all know the one and only NYG, Jeffy T, is always up, shining that bright light down on all of us. This is the Premium Takes Podcast, our first episode of 2024. Good evening, everybody out there, man. Happy New Year to everyone out there, out there in the sports land, man, in the world. We are the four horsemen of YouTube, baby. I know it's only three. We see three of us on the screen, but obviously Jeff is always right here with us in spirit. No doubt indeed, man. And it's been a couple weeks we took off, but we want to come back and start delivering this great content that we deliver to y'all each and every Friday night. We're gonna be doing a little NFL playoff special here this week. And Zion, man, how you been, brother, since the last time?
I've been absolutely great. Happy New Year's for you and the fam. Happy New Year to you, Adam, to you and the fam. Happy New Year's to the chat. Let's get it, man. It's a new year, and we're just happy to be here talking sports. How's everything with you going, Adam?
It's going well, fellas. Thank you so much. Again, happy New Year to you all, and all you all out there. Thanks for coming back with us. It was 2 weeks. We needed those 2 weeks to recharge our batteries and spend time with family and friends, and that was good to catch up with some old friends and talk with sports with them and break bread and stuff. So now we're in 2024, and a new year begins, and the dawning of an era is coming. Trust me, Giant fans. There's an anniversary in April that's happened. They know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. We had some big news coming down pike earlier today. How do you feel this impacts the end up going into the postseason, the NFL postseason, man? A team that was already one of the absolute best in the NFL, and the Baltimore Ravens, adding what could be the addition that puts them completely over the top. Dalvin Cook was just completely misused with the New York Jets this past season, throughout this entire season, and now running back of this caliber joining a team like the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think this means for the Baltimore Ravens heading into the postseason, the impact it could possibly have for them?
I think it's a little too late. I mean,
Whoever wants the floor first.
I think it's a little too late. I like Dalvin Cook. If this move happened in Week 8 when he was asked to be traded, this would be a great move that we're talking about right now. I think they do need a running back. He probably will help them at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, and he'll go off. What I'm saying is, you get him at the end of the year. You have a 2-week bye, well, essentially 3 weeks, right? Because you're probably the first seed. Doesn't matter what happens on Sunday, and you get a couple weeks to get him up to speed. I think it's the right idea. I just think I wish it happened for him a little earlier, so he doesn't have to be getting a cram session in this week. But we'll see. I guarantee you he'll play in the divisional round. He won't be playing this week, probably. If he plays this week at all, it'll be like maybe 10 plays, maybe get his feet wet. But I would expect him to come out in that divisional round and play. And this is interesting because normally this doesn't happen in the NFL. This is like an NBA type thing. In NBA, you cut a guy and then he's on a 10-day contract or something like that. Next thing you know, you ride him into the playoffs here and there. Normally you don't find a free agent of this caliber on the end of the team. I at least thought about, why does the trade deadline have to stop in the NFL? Why doesn't it continue on, right, throughout the entire season? Because to me, I would still be making moves now. Let's trade him. We have that option, right? Instead of saying, well, after Week 8, your team is locked. That makes no sense to me. So, and where I'm going with this is just that he came in early to the Jets. Obviously, Breece Hall outperformed him. They kept him on the roster for God knows how long. They could have probably traded him or cut him. They didn't. They cut him now, and now he goes to Baltimore, which at the end of the day, he might end up in the Super Bowl. So good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, I never understood the acquisition by the Jets in the first place. Like Adam said, you had Brees Hall that's coming off of a phenomenal season, rookie season, gets hurt, and can clearly show that he can clearly be a top five running back just based off of that little bit performance. But then you guys go with a healthy Brees Hall, bring in Dalvin Cook. Maybe the conversation is maybe we don't feel that Brees Hall is healthy enough. We want to kind of test that. Well, Brees Hall clearly showed that he's healthy enough. Clearly showed that he's the number one back, and it just doesn't make sense. Without Adam's point, is like why do you hold on to Dalvin Cook for so long? And in that point too, with the Ravens, they always been a running back committee kind of team with a solid defense. And you look at Justice Hill, you look at Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards can clearly show that he could be a number one back, but they don't give him that much snaps. It is always going to be a running back by committee when it comes to the Baltimore's offense. But now when you bring in someone like Dalvin Cook, someone that can clearly benefit, in getting some snaps. He's a veteran. He can go in the playoffs, get some snaps. You're looking at the Ravens. They're looking like the AFC favorite to represent the AFC. So let's see how it turns out. What's up, Bills? Thank you so much for joining us. I like the move, but by the Ravens, but it's like, what is it for? You know what I'm saying? And maybe if it sets them up down the line, I want to see something where maybe Dalvin Cook is the starting running back for them next season. Maybe he is going to be going forward. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they are going to utilize his last 3-4 years of his career if he makes it. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, he still is, and still deservingly so, is a top 10 running back, if not top 7. Deservingly so, should be on a good team. But what is the plan here, Ravens? What really is the plan? So are you going to utilize him going forward, or is just adding a running back and he's going to just be a part of the committee? Because I don't think Dalvin Cook is that running back that needs to be part of a committee. He's that running back that needs to be that number one running back. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I hear everything you're saying. The Jets, to me, just proved once again that why they're a bad team, or why they're not a great franchise right now, currently. I mean, you acquire a talent like Dalvin Cook, and I understand you have Brees Hall there, who is a phenomenal talent, but great teams figure out a way to utilize their talent. Dalvin Cook is a talent. Dalvin Cook is not some guy that was trying to revitalize his career this year. Dalvin Cook is a guy that came off of a very successful 1,000-yard season just a season ago in Minnesota, where he's like I think Zion said it best. He was legitimately still not only just a top 10 running back, you could still make a case for him up in the uppers, top 7, top 6 range of running backs around the league. Just because the Jets underutilized him this year, which they vastly underutilized him, this guy's coming in here to Baltimore now fresh, for the most part. Fresh. A talent like Dalvin Cook on a team like that, they're not going to underutilize him. They're not going to misuse him. They're not going to misuse the talent that is Dalvin Cook at the running back position. They're going to mix him in with the guys they got. Lamar, between the receivers they have, the talent at the receiver position they have now, and potentially Mark Andrews may even not be maybe making a comeback before it's all said and done. Look, this is a great move for Baltimore, in my opinion. Dalvin Cook is a pro. He's a vet. I mean, I understand what you said, Adam, about a cram session, new team, new playbook, and all that. But this guy he's been around the league long enough that I think that's not going to be that hard of an adjustment for him, especially considering he pretty much does have a couple of weeks to get prepared for that divisional round matchup, whoever that's going to be against. So I think this is a great move for Baltimore. Personally, I think Dalvin Cook is still a phenomenal talent, and the Jets just dropped the ball this whole entire season. I mean, I think, like I said, I understand what the talent that Brees Hall is, but when you got a guy like Dalvin Cook on the roster as well, you got to figure out a way to intermingle both of those guys and get the most out of what you can do, especially given their quarterback situation. That was where I thought they were going to lean heavily on the run, the 1-2 punch of Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, and they weren't even smart enough to do that. So, to me, the Jets
I never
are the
understood
ones that
that, Matt.
here,
There's games
and
where
they
like
just screwed
he
up.
had three snaps. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I never understood that. Right? They had games where like literally they're not playing good on offense, but Dalvin Cook still has three carries or something. It's like, get him involved. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, exactly. That's exactly where I'm at with it, man. So I think this is a move that potentially puts Baltimore completely over the top. We will see. You could be right also, Adam. It could be maybe a little too late, but I just think Dalvin Cook is enough of a pro and got enough seasoning on him that that he'll be able to come in and pretty much make that immediate impact. And like I said, you got to remember, this is also a Dalvin Cook coming in on relatively fresh legs, as he did not do a whole lot in this whole entire season. So I think, I don't know, this could be a very good move for the Baltimore Ravens, man. And I think they clearly have a plan in place. I think this team has a plan in place when they go out and acquire a talent like Dalvin Cook. They know what they're getting, and I think they know exactly how they want to use them. Anybody else got anything else? What's going on, Scrub Zero? Appreciate you stopping in, man.
Not really anything else. I mean, there's not much to talk about with that. And, you know, he sucked with the Jets, goes to Ravens. Let's see how it pans out. So
we will see.
Does he have any coaches there that have any familiarity with
pans
him?
out.
He doesn't have any coaches.
I'm not sure that. I'm not sure about. Not that I know of. I don't know anything about that whole situation. But let's switch gears a little bit right quick, man. Just Monday, got a big game coming up Monday, national title game, Washington versus Michigan, for all the marbles, man. This should be a really good game. Washington coming in with a very high powered offense, man, explosive, can put a lot of points on the board. Michigan, very capable team as well, obviously number one in the nation. How you guys see this all playing out, man? What do you expect from this game? Do you expect it to be, anything like last year, or again, you don't expect it to be lopsided like last year? Or expect it to be a nice, close, competitive, fun-filled game to enjoy Monday night for the national title, man?
I would say it's definitely not going to be like last year. TCU, shout out to them, but they wasn't in the same level, and they clearly showed as Georgia. This is a little bit more competitive. Reason being is we have Washington that is going to represent. They just ended. There's no such thing as the Pac-12. But at the time last year, the Pac-12 was the best conference in college football and had the most competitive teams. The SEC is always going to be the best conference, but last year, the Pac-12 had some competitive teams, and Washington clearly rose above all of them, beating teams like Oregon twice to clearly show that they are capable to represent in a national championship game. And then you got a team like Michigan that clearly beat the best offense in the nation, some will say in Ohio State, and then they come off beating Alabama, one of the best teams to ever do it in college football. And I know they took a dive in several years, but at the end of the day, Alabama still rose to the occasion, still beat Georgia, and got back into the race. Unfortunately, they just matched up against a defensive nightmare that is Michigan. Michigan, I'm going to take them. As much as I love Washington on the offense in this one, Michigan, for me, is just a better team. And for me, just has the better defense, and defense wins championships. Michigan, I know I wouldn't be surprised if Washington comes out and wins this game. My headset's dying. I'm trying to make this fast. Washington comes out and win this game based on the strength of their schedule and the tough teams that they have to go against. But I just see Michigan winning it by at least a touchdown, by at least a field goal. I would say something around 35-31. Michigan, defensive wins championships, and defensive Michigan schedule. If you go look at it, if you watch their games, they just been showing all year that they're defensive nightmares. So I'm going to take Michigan on this one. Go right ahead, Adam. I'm going to change my headset out.
Well, I think that Penix Jr. will put on a performance, but I think Michigan's defense eventually comes through with a couple key stops. That's usually how these things happen. It starts off slow, then becomes a track meet in the middle, and then they play defense towards the end. So I think you're going to see Michael Penix Jr. in the forefront. Now, people need to watch him because I know a lot of people talk about this guy can't move, he can't do this. Don't tell me what he can't do. Tell me what he can do. What he can do is throw the ball all over the damn yard. That's what he can do. And he's probably the best quarterback prospect coming out not named Caleb Williams, okay? And the reason why he's probably pushed down the boards is because of the injuries he had years ago at the schools that he played at before. So he's gonna be out there showcasing. Then on the other side, you have the Michigan defense, which is playing lights out and kind of held that team, Alabama, in check, right? They got a lot of Pratt. They made their quarterback not Joe Milton. They made their quarterback, I forget what his name is, but
Jalen Monroe.
yes, that's him. He was a pretty good guy, right? Who's a pretty good quarterback. They made him look ordinary. Yeah, did he make plays? Yeah, Alabama makes plays. That's what they do. No, I want any QB that's not named Daniel Jones. Put it to you that way, okay? Any QB not named Daniel Jones is my QB. If that means it's MacDaGianTFan at QB or Zion Zenith, then that's who I want to QB. Okay?
We don't want to die back there with this whole time. But
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anybody but I think the Michigan defense is going to play well. I think the guy you need to look at in Michigan's side, not necessarily J.J. McCarthy, it's their receiver who's pretty good and their running back who's also good. Corum, I think his name is. I think those are the two guys key to victory. As you saw, the receiver came in late with some big plays to help push that Michigan team over the top. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh does something he normally doesn't do, and that's open it up a bit. If you see Michigan throwing the ball a little bit more all over the place, it's one to do two things. One, to showcase J.J. McCarthy to the main stage that he can actually pass. And two, to kind of throw off that Washington defense, which is kind of not the best defense in the nation. So they kind of want to loosen up. And how do you loosen up a team that's going to probably be hell-bent on stopping the run? You pass it a couple times. So I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see Michigan trying to open it up so that their run game can come easily. And once that happens, good night to lights, because they have one of the best run games in the entire nation. So Tommy Cutlets is done.
Great stuff right there, man. Great stuff right there. But about Michael Penix, man, in particular, do you think there's any potential? Because Michigan's kind of been down the road before. This is kind of new territory for Washington. Washington has been a solid program, but they haven't been necessarily in the big time national spotlight. This is kind of nothing new for Michigan. Is you think? It's that now they just get an opportunity to finally kick that door and then win a national title. You think the stage could be a little too big for Michael Penix Jr. and the Washington Huskies? Any chance?
No, because you know why? They got nothing to lose. They've been down it all season. And the difference between them and TCU last year is the opponents that they played. They dominated some big-time teams and were in big-time games throughout the entire season. So, no, I don't think it's going to be the bright lights are going to be too big for them. At least not how I feel about what Penix can do. What you might want to see is, will the lights be too bright for Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines? Because they're expected to be here. They're expected to trounce this team. And what happens if Michael Penix puts a couple good drives together on their defense and starts to get some doubt in their head? Because all you need, what teams like Washington do is they play well with a lead. That's how they play defense. Okay, their defense is one-sided because they make you one-dimensional. It's like what I was telling people on Twitter about Peyton Manning and the Colts. That defense wasn't good, but the Colts scored so many points that all that defense had to do was rush the passer and get quarterbacks hits. So when you're not having to stop the run and give up those chunk plays like that, what does it allow you to do? It affords you the opportunity to kind of run around. Now, I know that Washington doesn't have the greatest secondary, but if you are in the lead, right, and your quarterback is getting you down the field and you're scoring touchdowns and putting the points up because Penix can put the ball anywhere, this will be, because remember, Penix hasn't seen the defense this good, but nor do I think Michigan's seen a quarterback this good as well when they've played throughout their college tenure. Maybe not too many, right? So I think you're going to see a great game. I really do believe this is going to be one of the best national title games you've seen in a while, just because of how it's going to be played. And I don't think the lights are too bright for Washington, at least with Penix Jr. as their quarterback. If it was somebody else, maybe, but what that guy has accomplished the last 2 years, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, he touched it up perfectly. I don't really need to go into full detail. I would just say I agree. That's a perfect way to explain it, and that's why this game is going to be such a big game. You know what I'm saying? Does he rise to the occasion when it really matters, when his back's against the wall? Because say Adam's right. Say Michigan comes in, jumping ahead like just egotistic. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the right word, but they just come in thinking that they're meant to be there, which they are. But then Washington gets ahead early, 10-0. I believe Michigan will probably respond, but when it comes down to Michael Penix, the way Adam explained it is perfectly, and that's why this game is going to be big because in the crucial moments, in 2 minutes before the half or 2 minutes to end the game, you're going to see this kid really should go in the top 5, top 10. You know what I'm saying? Should get drafted. Go against a defense that is some of them is going to play on Sundays. This is not a one-sided TCU shouldn't have been there. This is a team that basically beat the best teams in college football this year. When you talk about the ranked 25s, the Pac-12 had 8 teams in there at one point, and Washington beat 7 of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is going to be such a good game to watch, and I'm excited. This is going to be good. And they beat them not only because of the team, but because of the ability to place the ball, the ability to play quarterback that Michael Penix has shown. He got his team to this football game.
The last thing I just want to say was it's kind of interesting to not see a team like Alabama or Georgia in the national title in a long time. Me growing up, it used to be Miami was the team that was there. Then Florida State was there for a while. Then, of course, Ohio State, and then, Bama Roll Tide for the longest time. And then, of course, Georgia sprinkles themselves in. LSU was there a couple times. But to see Washington and Michigan.
Clemson.
and tough. You know what I'm saying? Not like those other teams ain't tough, but Michigan, those big boys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
franchise, right? One of the
tough MFers. You know what I'm saying? And like, for Michigan fans, like, how long has it been? It's been over 20 years since they got one. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is gonna be fun.
The last one they got was with Brian Greasy, I think.
I mean, great stuff, right, guys? Great stuff. And what you said was absolutely spot on. Both of you guys, man, were spot on with your takes, man. For Michigan, in the case of Michigan, like you was talking about, Michael Penix Jr., the Washington offense, I mean, very explosive offense. I mean, we've been talking about Michael Penix Jr., but they got some good receivers, big time playmakers out there on the field as well. In the event that Washington can get things going early in this game and kind of jump out to maybe start putting the points on the board, does Michigan have what it takes offensively to keep up with Washington in a track meet?
I'd say yes, because if you think about it, they got everything a team needs to succeed. They got an offensive line that is coached by a veteran coach that is not gonna let Washington have a free rusher. They have a running back that can clearly run the ball. They have the receiver, and they have a quarterback that's gonna make smart choices. Now if Washington goes out to 17-0, it is gonna be a bit harder because absolutely. Because what we just got done talking about, Washington's not going to let up. If Washington can score 17 on you, that means they can keep on putting points on you. Maybe it gets kind of tough, and you do have to rely on that defense from Michigan. But if it's 10, if it's 14, I think Michigan has the appropriate weapons. It all starts up front to get back in this game. And you've seen JJ. He's not listed right next to Caleb and Michael Penix and the rest of them, but he is that B tier, and he is a respected quarterback that could clearly go in there and Nick Saban threw everything at him. You know what I'm saying? And he passed the test. So nothing against Washington, but if you can pass the test against Ohio State, if you can pass the test against Alabama, obviously you're not down in an Ohio State game, but I think you'll be okay.
I think what people are missing here, I know a lot of people are criticizing J.J. McCarthy, but he's got ice in his veins. And that's what you need as a quarterback. When he went down with 2 minutes or so to go in the game against at Alabama, I would say 2 minutes, but it was a crucial time in the game. He went down and got them in field goal touchdown range, right? They're bringing the house on this kid. And he went down there unflapped and made it happen. Now, to answer your question, Mac, I don't think they have the firepower to hang with a shootout team. As you watched in Alabama, what they did was they tried to keep that team in front of them and keep the score low and play a knockout, drag-out fight. That's what Michigan wants to do. That's how they want to. They want to bludgeon you. They want to knock you out. They want to make sure you know that they're there to play. If they get into a track meet, that plays into Washington's hands, because I think Washington will then be able to open them up with all their things. Remember, Washington goes 5 wide. They play spread formation most of the time. So they're going to have guys open, and if they start to get a lead, that does not favor the Michigan offense, who builds themselves as a running team. See, what Michigan wants to do is pound you with the rock, get a low-scoring game, and then have your defense do it. And then what they do is they grind it out with the run game. You saw with McCarthy a couple games ago, he didn't even throw a pass. He threw 1 or 2 passes for 10 yards, and they grinded it out with the run game. So I don't think it favors them to be in a shootout. I think that's what Washington wants. They're kind of like the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA back in the day, where the Dallas Mavericks would kind of lull you to sleep, like you get a lead on them, and all of a sudden they storm back, and kind of roar out of nowhere. That's what Washington wants. They want to lull you to sleep, make it a 10-0 game, then all of a sudden they put 17 on you, and now you're playing their game. Now you're playing fast break football, and that's their MO. That's not Michigan's MO.
What's going on, bookend tackles, man? Thanks for stopping in, man. He says it comes down to can Washington's offense do what they do to Michigan's defense. But Penix is damn accurate, quick release, good at reading defenses, man. Absolutely, man. You guys want to make any final official predictions for who's going to win this?
I think Michigan will win, and J.J. McCarthy will come out this year, because once you win a national title, what's going on in Michigan with the turmoil and a lot of his, I heard something along the lines like half his team is leaving, either graduating or being drafted, and that may not be something you want to stick around. You're not going to be big. So if he wins, look for him to probably declare and come out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Would I be surprised if Washington can pull it up with the upset? No, but I'm gonna have to stick with Michigan. I'm gonna stick with my prediction: 35-31. Michigan takes it.
Wow, I believe that. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go with Michigan. I'm just old believer in old school philosophy. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. Michigan's got that defense, man. So
and a great run game.
I'm just gonna go with Michigan, man. I'm not. Yeah, absolutely. All right, fellas, let's switch gears, change lanes again a little bit. Let's go talk about something. I wanted to talk about this for a couple of weeks now. NFL playoff seeding and how it works out. Your division winners or your top 4 seeds in the conference, and they automatically get home games in their playoffs. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I mean, you look at the divisions like Tampa Bay, like the AFC South and the NFC South right now, where looking like both of those division winners are probably potentially going to be hosting teams that are flat out better than them, that have flat out have better seasons than them, that have better records than them. And it's unfortunate that these teams had to go on the road because of a technicality, so to speak. To me, in my personal opinion, I feel like a division championship should only guarantee you a playoff spot, a playoff berth. It should not guarantee you a higher seed. You should still be seeded where your record says you should be seeded. That's my opinion. I'd like to hear from you, Adam, on this one.
I agree with you on this. This is what makes no sense. Is that you give the best record to the home field advantage to the best team with the best record in the conference, but then you don't do that for the remaining teams in the conference, right? You go best record, right, but then it goes division winner, then goes to number 2, number 3, and number 4. What it should go is best record in the conference. So right now the Eagles should be hosting a home game. So now, if every team had 11 wins, okay, at that point we can get into the semantics of it all and say, division winner gets at that time the division winner would get the home playoff game, right? So if the Buccaneers ended at 11-6 and the and the Cowboys ended at 11-6, right? If the Cowboys won their division and the Buccaneers didn't, that's the only way the Cowboys would get the home game, right? But if the Cowboys were 10-7 and the Bucs were 11-6, that trumps everything. That means the Bucs would get the home game, right? So for me, I believe if you're going to make the first team the number 1 seed by record, you should do that the entire playoff bracket, not just for the number 1 seed and then say, hell, well, we're going to play the rest of the divisional games over here, because it really takes away from everything, because 3 division winners make it in, and then there are 3 wildcard teams, right? So it's kind of crazy to think.
I get it. I understand it. I agree with you guys. I really do. But I understand why they do it, because like it's almost like every year. Okay, so like the NFC South absolutely sucks, right? But like, are they gonna suck in 2030? And is the NFC East gonna be good in 2030? So no matter what, it's like every year is different, right? And then it's almost to the fans. So it's like, what's the prestigious of winning your conference? It doesn't matter if your team suck. The prestigious of winning your conference is the fans. Guess what? You guys get a home game. It doesn't matter if all those teams suck. And the NFC East is one of the best in the not now, but there's two teams clearly at the top in Dallas and the Eagles. Yes, one of them suffers, but in 2028 it might be different, and we might have the West League, and then we get a home game because our fans get it because it's just the prestigious of the conference. But I do understand your guys' points, and
you still get a T-shirt for winning the division, and you still get your banner. I mean, let's be honest. But you shouldn't be a home game if you're worse
for the fans. I think it's for the fans, honestly, because after it comes down to seeding, right? So the 7th is always gonna not play at home, and then the 6th is not gonna play at home, but the 5th might get the home game, and the 4th might get the home game, whatever it turns out. You know what I'm saying? But I understand it.
So let's play your scenario out.
Okay.
So let's say the Buccaneers who get in at 8-9, and the Rams who are at number 7 are 10-7, and those teams end up in the championship game. At that point, they're going for record. Who has the better record to go to the home game? So at that, the only relevance that winning your division has right now is getting you a playoff seed. If it doesn't matter in the divisional round at what point you're playing or going home, then what does it matter record-wise? What you do is you win your division, you get a guaranteed playoff spot. At that point, if your record is better than the opponent you play, then you play the home game wherever that opponent is. So if the Eagles are 11-5, the Buccaneers are 8-9, why should the Buccaneers get a home game even though they won the division? The record matters, because at the end of the day, if the Buccaneers end up going to the Super Bowl, or even the Eagles, and the only way they're not playing a home game is if they play the 49ers or whatnot, right? So when does this come into play? That's all I'm saying is, like, I don't care that you get into the playoffs and get it with an 8-9 record. That doesn't bother me. I don't care about that. You've earned it. It's not your fault your division stinks. What it is your fault is you didn't have enough wins to get in there, and we're telling you that the top team gets a first round bye, but you get to fly to a team that's worse than you. How does that even make sense?
It's
just the NFL. The reason it's bothering me a lot more, I think the reason it's bothering me a lot more this season is because now we're going to see that happen in 2 divisions this year. Like I said, the AFC South is not exempt from this conversation. They're a better division in the NFC South, sure, but they're not. They're also going to be the same situation. You're looking at whoever's going to win the AFC South, whether it's Jacksonville, Houston, or the Colts. They're going to be the 4th seed in the AFC playoffs, and they're going to be hosting most likely. It looks like the Cleveland Browns. So Cleveland Browns
right now they got
very strong
Cleveland
season.
Versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville.
So right now it's been a very strong. So why does Cleveland, who's played their ass off all season, been through a lot of turmoil and been able to keep their season afloat by just being a great football team? Why do they have to then go and travel to Jacksonville or Houston or Indianapolis, whoever it's going to end up being? Why do they have to go and do that when they're prove to be a better football team this season?
I don't know what their record's going to be. The Browns. I don't know what they are. 11-5, 11-6, or something like that.
They're 11-5 right now.
Right. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they play a team that has a lesser record than them. They're going to host the home game, so then it doesn't matter at that point that the team that got in made it in, because then it doesn't make sense. So so when I get in, right, I have an 11-6 record against an 8-9 team. But I don't get to play a home game. But then if I happen to win and one of these lesser teams behind me wins, then I get to host a home game because of my record. It makes no sense to me. It just means to me you should. What does it mean that the regular season is played out then?
But yeah, that's exactly what it is, and like that's why I see it, because at the end of the day, like I agree with you guys. But here's the thing too, it's like, in 2027, when Baltimore is okay, I don't want to get Baltimore fans mad, but maybe Baltimore is not as good. It's like I get it, Browns. You guys are legit this year, but it sucks because Baltimore is better. You know what I'm saying? And then if Jacksonville is 9-4. Now Jacksonville, they got in the playoffs. They won their conference. It's not the Browns' fault that the Ravens is better. It's not. But the Browns did not win the conference.
Right.
Jacksonville won their conference. But here's the thing: why should
Nah,
Jacksonville
I'm gonna take
fans
what you
suffer?
just. Go ahead.
Wait, but why should a 9-4 team not only do they make the playoffs, but now they have to fly to an 11-5 team? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what does the
Because your
Jacksonville
record is
get
not
for
good.
winning the conference? They get a playoff spot. And I understand your guys' point. It should just end there. You guys make the playoffs. Congratulations. But what happens in 2007? It is just the NFL. No matter what, if you win your conference, you're getting a home. That's just the way it's spreading the love. I understand your guys' points, and it could be done better.
First off, this would never happen right here. Where what NYG is saying, because the Ravens and Baltimore are in the same friggin' division, so that wouldn't happen. What it's looking at is this. All right, Baltimore is 12-5. They win the division, right? Let's say Kansas City's 12-5. They win the division. We'll just do all even records, right? Let's just do the Buffalo Bills are 12-5, right? But you go down to the AFC South, and the Colts are 8-9, right? Now they win the division at 8-9. Okay, fine. They get into the playoffs. Now there's a team behind them in the wild card area in let's say the AFC North. The Browns are now 11-6. So now they're supposed, and they're a wild card team. Let's say they're number 5. Right now they have to go play number 4 or whatever it is. Why that the Browns, who busted their ass, deserve to go play a team in their building who's worse than them? What does it mean to have the number 1 record then?
But here's the thing: it's not. I understand it's unfair, but here's the thing: if you look at the seedings right now, you have Baltimore at the top at 13-3, and that's fair, right? They get the bye. If you look at every single matchup besides the one matchup we're talking about is fair. We have 7th seed Colts flying to Miami. Miami's 11-5. The Colts are 9-7. Exactly. We have an even matchup between Buffalo and Kansas City, right? So we have a winner of a division. Why should the winner of the division? I get it. I understand where you guys came, but why should a winner of division not only not get a home game, but why should they now fly to a non-winner of the division? I understand what you guys are saying, but it's not the Browns' fault. In 2028,
we're putting too much on that. We're putting too much on that. Look at it like this. What does the regular season mean? If you out there, you play your ass off to have one of the best records out of all the teams in the league. And sure, another team, like you said, the Baltimore is in the same division as the Browns, and they had a little bit better season, and they actually won the division. That doesn't make the Browns not a very good football team. Doesn't make the Browns still not one of the best football teams in the league still. It means that they just happen to be in the division with another great football team this particular season. It's, to me, the regular season means nothing. Then, so what's the point? All you gotta do is
regular season does mean
make
nothing
it in the playoffs.
But at the end of the day, Mac, 1, 2, 3, 4, just win your division. 1, 2, 3, 4 is ranked right. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're number 1, you get a bye. Number 2 and number 3, you're playing at home. Number 4, you're playing at home. Then after that, 5, 6, 7. I understand it's unfair to the 5th seed.
Think about it like this. Think about it like this. If they were to do it our way, we wouldn't. Then we shouldn't have division winners, because here's the thing:
if there's your guys' way, there'll be no purpose of division.
Hold on a minute. I'm not telling you at 8-9 you're not getting into the playoffs. You're getting into. You have a guaranteed spot winning your division to get into the playoffs. The next tier,
you have it. That's what it guarantees you.
Right.
Well, what's the point of winning the
championship when it guarantees you a playoff
spot?
It guarantees you a playoff spot.
Now the next tier is this. The next tier goes record. That's it. That puts down the seeding. So if you are the number 1 team in your conference, okay, boom, you go number 1, right? You go to number 2, you go to number 3, and by default, number 4 goes to the team with the best record. But that other 4th team is a wild card team. So that team is going to play on the road no matter what, if it's playing against a team with a better record, because that's how it should go, because that's how you're already establishing who's getting the number 1 seed. To me, all I'm saying is you win your division, you get into the playoffs. If you're a division winner and you happen to be better than the team you're playing, let's say you're 10-6 or 10-7, and the team you're playing is 9-8, you deserve the home game. But if the team you're playing is 11-6 and you're 10-7, well, hey, they had a better season than you. They shouldn't be penalized.
No, it's not. It's not penalized. The only thing
Look,
that's
I can't believe I'm about to say this. Look, I can't believe I'm about to say
this.
this. Check it out real quick. But no, check this out real quick. I can't believe I'm about to say this because you know I'm not really a big fan of the NBA. Look how the NBA does it in the postseason. And I know now they don't even do divisions anymore. Now it is about just your conference, the conferences in the records, the top whatever 8 teams in the conference, however many teams make the postseason in the NBA. But even before then, when it was you win your division, sure you're going to be in the playoffs, but your record still mattered for your seeding. It didn't just guarantee you a higher seed than this team and that team if you didn't have a better record in them. Your record has to mean something. It has to.
Your record does mean something.
You went out there and you were no, but it doesn't if you got to go on the road.
It's only
and okay, 3 years ago,
guys.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had to go on the road and play the Washington fucking football team a couple of years ago, who was 6-10 because they won the lowly, pathetic NFC East division. Why? And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had to go on the road and play that game, eventually went on and won the Super Bowl because why? Because they were the best goddamn team in the league when it all was all said and done, but yet they had to go on the road and play a game against against the Washington Commanders.
And if I'm not mistaken, they weren't even
that doesn't make sense to me.
They weren't even.
Okay, put it this way, guys.
We're not.
I think we both understand each other's points, but I'm looking at it like this way. All right, so say 2028. Okay, Green Bay's number 1 seed, right? Green Bay's number 1 seed, right? And say the Lions is number 5th seed, right? And say the Giants had a tough ass schedule. Played tough, and our division is just nuts. The Eagles are good, the Cowboys are good, the Commanders are good. So it's a really tough division, okay? But you look at other divisions, maybe like Tampa's division, and there's only one good team, and that's maybe Atlanta. That's the only Atlanta. So Atlanta is clearly winning double digits, all right? So they're clearly number 2. So it goes Green Bay, it goes Atlanta. And let's just say a random other team is number 3, okay? Now let's go look at the Giants. Say the Giants win their division 9-8. We win this tough ass division 9-8, and other teams below us is right there 8-8, 7-9, whatever it may be. Yeah, but us home fans, we do not get a home game because the Lions went 10-2. So an 8-8 team, guess what, Giants? You guys won the division. Congratulations. A tough year, but you guys don't even get a home game for winning nothing. Wait, hold up. We won our division. What did we get? You guys get a playoff spot. But what? That doesn't make sense.
Get a chance to still play for a championship in the playoffs. You still get an opportunity in the playoffs to play for a championship.
Here's the thing.
Detroit gets the opportunity in the playoffs to get the championship.
If you listen to what coaches
You know what I'm saying?
If you listen to what coaches say, what do they say? We need to win our division. Why? To guarantee us a playoff spot. All right. That's what you need to do. The objective is still the same. Get to the playoffs. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if you play on the road or home. The record should mean something. If you look at baseball, what they're doing, right? They have records over there. NBA, same thing. The guy just said it right here. The NBA, the top 4 teams are guaranteed a playoff spot. So if you win your division because by hook or by crook, because it's a bad division. Let's be honest. The NFC South is a bad division. One of those teams is going to playoffs. Only one, right? And that one team is going to now get a home game over a team that's busted his ass, that's played game after game in a division. For example, here's an example. Giants are 11-6. Eagles are 12-5. Cowboys are 12-5. Both those 2 teams have to go on the road. Would you rather have the Giants at home game against a team that has a worse record?
I understand your guys' point. Like I do understand your point, but what I'm trying to explain is that's why the NFL does it. It's to reward the fans for it's the prestigious. I understand your guys' point.
I don't care about rewarding.
Would it change? Who knows? I don't really care. But what I care about is the facts, and the facts is that's why they do it. They reward the fans. The prestigious of winning a division has to hold some value, regardless of getting in the playoff spot.
That's the value. How is a playoff spot not a value? You know how many teams didn't make the playoffs are not going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You have an opportunity to still play for a title.
It's the NFL spreading the love, and that's all it is. It has to be prestigious to win the division.
No,
it can't just.
And your division can just be getting into the playoffs. That is what you guarantee. Then your record indicates what it is. Don't we have the same problem with the college football fucking rankings and shit, where the number one team doesn't get the number one whatever it is because of some stupid point system? Why?
But here's the thing.
I'm just saying.
College is a little bit. Yeah, we can admit college is a little bit messed up. But here's the thing about the NFL. It's this year proves like it doesn't make a case for nothing, because obviously the second year in a row where a bad team clearly gets a home game. I understand that.
It's been over decades.
But here's the thing too. It's like you can be in three bad teams in your conference, right? You're only the good team, like I explained in that 2027 predicament. Atlanta Falcons, literally, they're not that good, but they're beating their division rivals because the division rivals are so bad, right? So they're clearly gonna win their division. Okay, I mean, not win the division. They're clearly gonna make a playoff seed, right? But a team like the Giants that finished 9-8, but we got 8-8. That's a tougher division. That's a tougher division to win. So if Atlanta was in that division, Atlanta will go 8-8. So the Giants finishing 8-8 and winning a tough division just gets a playoff spot, and a team that went 11-5 because it's a skewed record because they played trash teams with an easy schedule, they get a home game.
Well, you're making it seem like 8-9 is good football. No, that's a bad.
But they're playing tough teams because
they're not playing tough teams. They're playing Atlanta, who's also bad. They're playing the fucking Carolina.
That's what I'm saying. For this year, it doesn't. It's about every year, Adam. It's about 2020, 25.
What was the year the Eagles? Who was the team that went to the playoffs in 2020? Who was that team? I think it was the
Washington.
Commanders.
It was,
they were 7-9. The entire
it was Washington. The Washington football team.
6-10. Okay, 6-10. Do you think that team deserved to have a home game? No, they didn't.
No.
They deserved to be in the playoffs because by attrition they won their shitty division. We're giving you the playoff spot.
That's all I'm saying, fam.
Because at the end of the day, you only get the home game for the wild card spot anyways. After that, it goes by record and seeding. So technically,
that's what I'm saying.
But if you're the number 2 seed, so if you're the number 5 team playing the number 7 team, guess what? They're not going back and saying, well, you didn't win your division, so you're not getting a home game. No, you're going by record and getting that team the home victory. Why can't it be the same way to get into the playoffs? I don't get it.
I understand it.
All right, look, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this one up in a minute.
I don't get it.
We're going to wrap this one up in a minute. But Scrub Zero, I love this comment right here because this is a fact, an absolute fact. The Skittles game, this is the Skittles game with Marshawn Lynch. It really wasn't an issue until 2010 when the Seahawks won the NFC West at 7-9 and got to host the 11-5 Saints, who were a very good football team that season, and they had to travel all the way across the country to play a team that on most weeks they would have beaten. But up there in the Pacific Northwest, having to travel all the way up there to play this 7-9 team that won their bad division when the NFC West was a horrible division. That's what I'm talking about. That's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be that way. But we're like you said, we're going in circles. I love the conversation, fellas. We got to move on, all right? It's time to move on. And we're going to go to a segment that I would like to call For Real or Frauds. For real or frauds, we get ready to list the teams that we now know are already officially got their spots locked in the postseason. And let me know, do you think these teams are for real or do you think these teams are frauds? We'll start with the NFC, and we'll start right at the not quite the top, because I excluded the 49ers and the Ravens from this. I think we all agree the Ravens and 49ers are for real. I don't think we got to even talk about that one, but about those two. But let's talk with the Dallas Cowboys, man. For real or frauds, man? Zion, take it away, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna come again. I apologize the last couple episodes, I believe, but I didn't fully give them an apologize, man. I think the Cowboys are for real. Yes, I said it correctly. I gave them a lot of shit throughout the season, but if it all ends today, they're hosting the Green Bay, and I don't think Jordan Love has what it takes to take out the Cowboys. I think they're gonna get into another level with their defense, and the Cowboys could be frauds until proven otherwise. I mean, I don't think they're making it to the Super Bowl because I have other team making it there, but they're gonna be they're a real football team. I I wouldn't look at them as slouches when it comes to the playoffs. You overlook the Cowboys in the playoffs, no matter what anybody says, they're gonna beat you. So I say they get past Green Bay, but I'm gonna say for real. I'm just not go on and go on and go on. Go ahead, Adam.
First off, I think somebody on here owes me an apology because Dak Prescott has 4,300 yards and what was that? 32 touchdowns. Oh, but he's not going to throw 30 touchdowns again. He can't possibly do that. Oh, he's fallen off. He's fallen off. You would say that on unpopular opinion. Now you think everybody's a fraud. You're the one who also told me Dak Prescott was falling off 4,200 yards later and 32 touchdowns later. He's fighting for an MVP spot. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. If they get the number 2 seed, they have a better chance of representing in the NFC Championship game than everybody else. I think they're Jekyll and Hyde team. I'm going to go with I'm not going to say they're fraudulent right now. I'm going to say they're for real only for their defense. But Dak Prescott has played. I'm not trying to praise him. I'm just saying people gave me a ton of flack for this guy all year. All I said was, "Oh, he's a good player," and he's not. What are you talking about, bro? You're a hater, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. You're blinders. Well, he has 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. That's not even counting the rushing touchdowns he has as well. If people like to count those stats as well, so that's why I'm keeping them in the non-fraudulent pile. But let's get the full stats he's got here. Let's see his rushing stats. We need to go to his game logs. We want to go to the official bio of the stats because I want people to hear this because this is a good rushing team. So he has 2 rushing touchdowns on top of his 32 overall touchdowns. The guy's playing at MVP level. That's why I'm giving it to him. Do I know if that's going to against San Francisco? Who knows? But Dak is good. Stop with your stats, Adam. Stop with your stats, Adam. That's all you brought out last year, bro. Yeah, I did. And he hasn't played well, so we get him wrong a couple times. But you also said Daniel Jones is going to be the truth, too. I didn't forget about that. I didn't forget about that.
Adam is a Cowboys fan. Gross.
Look, I'm going to say, man, Dallas Cowboys. This team, man, this damn team, man. I just don't know what to make of them sometimes a little bit. They've had some head-scratching losses a couple head-scratching losses this season. But yet this defense, when it's ready and fired up, man, it is absolutely one of the very best in the league, man. And Adam, you have said it. I mean, offensively, CD Lamb is just he's a fucking
you can
problem.
pat me on the back for that one too.
Putting up ridiculous numbers all every weekend and week out, continuing, and he's actually getting even more hot right at the right time of the season as they are entering the postseason. This is going to be weird, man. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I think the Cowboys are for real this year. I think this is a year where they
I
are
think
going
we go to the Super Bowl.
they're
No.
They're going to make you earn. They're going to make everybody earn it, man. They're going to make everybody earn it, I believe. I just think that the Cowboys this might be the year where they finally figure it out and put it all together, man. Because this team defensively, when they're hot, man.
Come see San Francisco. Come see Detroit. I'll give you guys everything else. I'll give you guys everybody else.
And they'll be and barring something ridiculous happening on Sunday, they'll be playing at home until they until they have to eventually maybe face San Fran. So
if it ends today, they're playing Green Bay.
The Cowboys at home this season. The Cowboys at home this season have been they've been a terror, man. So
until something happens,
that's also in their favor. As long as nothing really ridiculous happens on Sunday against the Washington Commanders, all they gotta do is win, and they win the NFC division, and they'll be locked down at number 2 spot. So
Riverboat Ron,
they'll be playing, like I said, playing home unless they face the 49ers.
Riverboat Ron wants to finish 500.
We'll see how that goes.
So he's gonna have those boys geeked. So Dallas Cowboys, don't go to sleep because they're gonna try to win one for the Gipper on Sunday.
All right, guys, for real or frauds? La Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC East champions, the defending NFC Conference champions.
They're frauds as of late, but I still think they beat up on lowly teams. And I still think they somehow call me crazy, but they end up winning one game and going to the divisional round and probably getting ousted. Then I know a lot of people say they're one and done, but they do have a lot of talent. on that team. It's not coming together. I've talked to many Eagle fans as to why their play calling has been bad right now. They try to pass to run, and I think that's what a lot of their issues have been. If they ran the football a lot more in a lot of these games, they would be winning. Like for example, against the Arizona Cardinals, they got into a holding penalty. Then they get the behind the down and distance sticks, and then they don't get the first down, and they're not as aggressive because they have a kicker that can make kicks from the moon. So what do? You end up taking the field goal, and your defense has Swiss cheese, can't stop anything. And you come roaring back. So if they had been able to run the football and get into like what they did against the Giants in the second half of that game, even though the Giants stormed back, they ran the football towards the end in the last 4 or 5 minutes, which really salted the game away. And at that point, the Giants had no chance. If the Eagles do that, and they'll be playing a team with a favorable matchup in the playoffs in terms of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though they're fraudulent, there is a chance for them to beat the Buccaneers and go to the next round. Will they get further than that? Probably not. But they have a chance to beat the Bucs, who, let's be honest, are a Jekyll and Hyde team. But right now, the Eagles are playing like frauds. I think they're more legit than Dallas. I said in the offseason that they would miss. Okay, oh my God, wow.
I think the Eagles are frauds. I don't have to repeat what Adam says. I agree. They get past Tampa just like Dallas gets past Green Bay, and they both get eliminated. Bye NFC East teams.
Well, I just think they're better than the Giants, and I just think they're better than Tampa Bay. And I think they're going to come in, play the Giants hard, try to get a win to right their ship. You don't want to go. I don't believe you want to go into it with a loss, especially with how that media is already circling you. I think they need a morale boost so you win against the Giants. And then in Tampa Bay, at that point, winning teams turn it on. And sometimes you just need to get there, right? And so we'll see what happens when they get there. I don't think they'll lay an egg against Tampa Bay. However, the other two teams that they might face after that will be a different story.
Well, guess what? There's no secret here where I'm going with this. Look, this team has been frauds all goddamn season. They've been frauds all season, all season long.
Mac's been waiting for this.
This is Minnesota Vikings 2.0 right here from a season ago, man. This is what this Philadelphia Eagle team is this season. They've been this team all season long. They got a couple of breaks early in the year. Some of those got a few wins that could have very easily have been losses. This team has been frauds all year. This is the same exact team that they've been all season long, except now those wins that they were able to squeak out in the early part of the year have been straight up been losses. This team right now could be going into this game on a 5-game loser streak had the Giants been just capable of making a couple more plays in that football game on Christmas Day. So this team is absolutely frauds. I think they are one and done. Even if they play a team like Tampa Bay has weapons on the outside that I think is going to make the Eagles defense struggling, because that is where they struggle in their defense, is defending those big time top receivers on teams opposing offenses. This team is frauds, man. They're frauds. They've been frauds all season. They're arguing with each other in the locker room. Apparently, things are just starting to kind of fall apart with this football team. Look, they might go out there and beat the Giants on Sunday because that's just what they do. They beat the Giants. The Eagles beat the Giants. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I had to live with that my whole life. But at the end of the day, this is not a team that is that's prepared to make a run this season. I cannot see this team ending up in the Super Bowl once again. This team is frauds, man, unless they can completely just turn it on all of a sudden in the postseason. Now, I'm not saying this is a sorry team, because obviously they are loaded with talent all over the place on this football team, but they're a fraudulent football team, man, and they have been all season. Like I said, they squeaked by in the first half of this season. Like I said, so many games, quite a few games they should have definitely been L's, and it just worked out for them. You know what I mean? And it's not working out for them. This team's not ready, man. There's something disconnecting. This probably stems back to their coordinators. Lose both coordinators, that has an impact, man. And this team tried to play that down all offseason like it wasn't going to be a big deal. A lot of their fan base tried to play it off like it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. They found out that it definitely has been a big deal. Their offense is a little bit more stagnant than it had been a year ago. It's a lot more predictable, and defensively, this team has been struggling a lot. this season, man. So yeah, they're frauds. I'm sorry, I just can't with this football team this year. They're too much talent for them to be having the issues that they're having.
Well, wouldn't it be
But
funny is if the matchups in the divisional round are the Lions going back to Dallas, okay, and the Eagles going back to San Francisco, because that would make for an interesting divisional round.
it sure would be. But I don't think the Eagles want any part of San Fran again. I know they don't want no part of that. But that very
They
much
have no
could be a
choice.
divisional round matchup. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could very well be a divisional matchup. Divisional round matchup. For real or frauds? The Detroit Lions, winners of the NFC North.
I'll go first. For real. I'll tell you why. Because they play the thing that is their Achilles heel is obviously their defense is somewhat of a liability. But they are an aggressive football team. They play hard. They they have weapons all over the field. They can score when they're on. They're on. They can play with the best of them. They've earned the spot of being for real in my eyes. Did they lose that football game with the penalty? Sure, but it was an illegal formation as well too. So that's what people also don't forget. So it was a legal formation. So they would have been in trouble anyways. The fact that they went for two after they got the penalty, I thought was a little bold move. Like, yeah, okay, so you got the penalty, you went back. At the third time, you should have said, you know what, maybe we'll kick the field goal here and just tie the game up. I know you want to be aggressive and win, and that's fine. But sometimes being smart is better than being stupid. And being smart would have been to take that there, get the overtime in there, and get out of there with a win. And now you're the number 2 seed as opposed to being the number three seed because you decided to take a risk, which people I respect you for. But there was also an option to tie the game and kind of win that game. You know what I mean? When you have a chance to win and you don't, things come back to bite you. We're going to be talking about more than just that penalty, but they could have been an interception, but there was a penalty called on the Cowboys for pass interference, so that it could have ended that way as well. So I just think in these games when you get tight down there, they better not make these same mistakes because those costly mistakes could cost you a championship, and you don't want to be out there saying what if this, what if that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna lean on that opinion as well. I mean, like I bet I'm popular here. I mean, like they're legit, but are they legit right now to make it all the way there to the Super Bowl? Yes and no. Adam brought up good points, and it just comes down to those the young team, they've been established a while, but they're a young good team. They just popped up on everybody's radar about a year ago, and then this year looking like they're making the playoffs. But I do believe that they're just a couple years out. Don't get me wrong, I want to see the Dolphins and the Lions. I think that would make a really fun Super Bowl, but I think we're not going to see the Dolphins and the Lions. I think we might see San Francisco and Baltimore or something, and we'll probably make those predictions later on in the show or something. But that being said, I just think that it comes down to being a young team and making those crucial mistakes, and they are, there's going to come down in the game where it is whether it is the championship game for the NFC or whether it be the division game, wherever it comes down to, they're gonna be matched up against a more experienced team. Whether it be San Francisco, I can't believe I'm even saying this, the Dallas Cowboys, and they're gonna make that mistake. So I do believe they're a year out, but they're legit. They're legit, and they won't be. I won't be surprised if they make it, but it's gonna be tough to make it this year.
Well, I'm going to love watching their fan base go wild for having a playoff game at home for the first time in
Absolutely.
over 30 years. So,
Yeah, first time at Ford Field since they've been in Ford Field getting to host a playoff game. The Detroit Lions, man, I do tend to agree with what Scrub Zero said here in the chat. That the one comment he put, man, I think it's Dan Campbell's got to understand this is the postseason now. He's got to dial it back. This ain't Madden, man. Don't put your team at risk, man. I think this team is for real because what they can do offensively sometimes in games, man. This team can score points in bunches, man, and I think that's gonna it's gonna keep teams on their heels, man, throughout the postseason. But Dan Campbell, you got to make smart decisions, man. You can't be like fake punting it down in your own territory. You can't be
Right.
Can't
Those are
be
costs.
calling. You can't. Yeah, you can't be just doing things like that. Like Adam said, you went for the 2-point conversion the first 2 times, and things didn't go. Things went left. Why you going for it a third time, man? Like stuff like that, you gotta make those smart decisions for your team, man. I do like Dan Campbell as well. Like you said, unpopular decision. I like Dan Campbell as a coach. But like I said, he's just got to be a little smarter with some of the decisions he makes. I think his team has the talent. I do agree, Adam, what you also said defensively. It could be, that could be in a bit of an Achilles heel for this team. But I'm curious. I'm interested to see what a guy like Aiden Hutchinson and company can come out there and do in the postseason when them lights shine on a little bit brighter, man, and let him see if he can take that next step to greatness. Because I mean, that kid's definitely on his way, obviously, to being one of the elite pass rushers in this league. So well, I'm going with for real for the Detroit Lions, man. I think this team can surprise some people, and I wouldn't be completely surprised if they made one of those magical runs.
Well,
But
it's Detroit. It's exciting, and we'll get to see it for the first time in a long time right here. And well, the one thing I want to say, the last thing about them is, though, if this was the playoffs, you'd be talking about that 2-point conversion for years, saying how dumb it was. It cost us a football game. Luckily, it was only in the regular season. But those are the type of things that will cost coaches jobs when big time players happen. When you could have easily tied the game up, because the owner will be like, you could have tied the game up, and who knows at what point, at sudden death, what happens. You know what I mean? You score a touchdown, game's over. Anything can go your way. That's why football is so intriguing. So, but to do that in the regular season, a little bit more easy to take than if this was a playoff game. That's all I'm saying.
absolutely, absolutely. For real or frauds? The Los Angeles Rams coming off a
Um,
victory against the New York Giants last week at MetLife Stadium.
I'll say they're for real
Clinching the
because of
playoff
their
berth.
offense. I'll say they're for real because of their offense. It seems like when teams play the Giants, it's their first time playing them. They have especially if it's at home against the Giants, they seem to have some trouble playing them. I think that's what gave Matthew Stafford some trouble. If you watch the game against the Giants, they had plenty of opportunities to blow the doors off that team, drop passes, miss field goals. I mean, they played a horrible game and still somehow won the football game. I think this team is on fire. They're a team I do not want to play, even though they're playing the 49ers. And we all know the 49ers are going to take their, lie down and not start their players. I don't want to play the Rams. They're the team that all the teams in the wild card round that I want to play right now. I think the team that I would love to play first is probably the Eagles, even though they scare me because they could turn it on, but they're struggling right now. The Rams are the opposite. They're red hot. And they're the team that could end up being a surprise pick and end up being in that NFC championship game or that divisional round. The team we didn't think was going to be there is now there because, one, Matthew Stafford's playing out of his mind. Again, against the Giants, he didn't play well, but they still won the game, and there were still opportunities. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, I think they'll play a cleaner game against the 49ers. And then when they go into, what are they, the 6th seed right now? When they go play Detroit, what does Detroit do poorly? They play defense in the back end poorly. And what does the Rams do very well? They pass the football very well. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, very dynamic duo. They also have their tight end there who gets the ball out. And now they have the Robinson kid who's also getting plays. And their back from Notre Dame is playing fantastic. He's picking up the blitzes. Their offense is really what's humming. And I think if they can continue to play good offense, like I said against the Colts, that helps out a back end of your defense because all you have to do now is cover. You don't have to worry about the run game no more. So the game becomes easier when it becomes one-sided. So that's why I think they're for real. And who knows? That's why we play the game.
I love it. I agree with all of that. I'm just gonna say Sean McVay. I mean that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Sean McVay. The chat said it perfectly. Adam said it perfectly. I mean people forgot that Matthew Stafford was injured last year, playing injured majority of last year, and everybody was like, the Rams are not going to be good at the start of this year, and then everybody's like, just watch. He had his football team playing for him the whole year, and I took this 5th round pick of nobody even know who his name was, and Puka, you know what I'm saying? Showed out, balled out, you know what I'm saying? And the only reason why he dropped is because he was injured, and he couldn't really show off his best in the combine. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a team coached by Sean McVay, all you need is a spot. All you just need is a spot. It doesn't matter if you get into the 7th seed, the 5th seed, the 4th. It doesn't matter. All he needs is a shot, and his team will show up. And just got done talking about how the Lions are a legit team. Adam said it perfectly. Wouldn't surprise me if celebrations of being in the playoffs, everybody has their hopes high. Ford Field is going bananas, and the experienced coach comes in and shuts that down real fast. That's not going to be surprising. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm with y'all all the way, man. For real, for this football team, the Rams, like as Giant fans, we should know it's not about being necessarily the best team in the league. It's about when you're getting hot at the right time, and this football team has definitely gotten hot at the right time, man. And like you said, offensively, they can play with anybody offensively for sure. And if you look down at the NFC East, the NFC teams heading into this postseason, only one of them has a quarterback as a championship quarterback, and that is Matthew Stafford with this Rams team, man. I mean, Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl before. He's been there. It was one of the worst Super Bowls ever. That Super Bowl was absolutely terrible that year of Rams against the Patriots. It was absolutely garbage. But he's been there. But Matthew Stafford's won one. Matthew Stafford's won one just a couple years ago. Sean McVay, they know what it takes, man. I mean, a couple of pieces still on that team. Aaron Donald and company on defense. I mean, this Rams team has definitely gotten hot at the right time. So I agree 100% with all you guys. I say this team is for real, and they are a very dangerous football team to watch out for in the NFC postseason, man. So for real or frauds? Whoever wins the goddamn NFC South division, the Bucks, the Saints, or the Falcons, whoever wins it, I mean, it's still up for grabs. I mean,
yes.
doesn't even.
Next question.
Only division of football. Outside the AFC East, it's still up for grabs. But these teams are all booty cheeks. I think it's probably going to be the Bucks when it's all said and done because they have the Panthers. I don't think they're going to lose to Panthers. The Saints and Falcons is a good one. Who knows? Maybe the Panthers-Bucks ends in a tie, and the Saints and Falcons ends in a tie, and then you have no clear division winner. I wouldn't know what would happen at that point. But I think they're frauds. I think the NFC South are frauds. Like I said in the playoff piece, that this is why you should get your divisional game to get in, but you shouldn't get a home game because this is just fraudulent. And if they go out and lose the game, which is pretty, they play what? They play the
They'll come play the Eagles.
They'll play the Eagles or the Cowboys. Either the Eagles or the Cowboys.
Would you be surprised if either the Eagles or the Cowboys beat them? I mean, come on, let's be real. I mean, Baker Mayfield, good for him. You got your team to the playoffs. That's why I'm kind of rooting for the Bucks so he can get that monkey off his back to get there and kind of get. I think they're a year or two behind. But man, what next year's going to happen is Atlanta's going to get some quarterback like Russell Wilson or some shit, and they're going to end up being good next year, and then they'll finally win 10 games. I don't even has the South won. Even with Tom Brady last year, they were terrible. So
it was terrible last year too. Terrible.
Yeah,
the last couple of years.
But at least they had Tom Brady.
I would. I'm gonna take my time to agree. I'm gonna say that they're frauds, but I'm gonna say there's a person on the Bucks that's not a fraud that deserves some recognition. We'll probably do it later on down the year when the year ends. But I'm gonna give Mike Evans some recognition. Another 1,000-yard season. Now the only player to done that, right next to the greatest of all time in the receiving category. So that being said, shout out to Mike Evans, bro. Another 1,000-yard season, and this one he went for 1,300. So congratulations to him. You know what I'm saying? Dominating again. It doesn't matter. This guy had James Winston throwing in the football, still put up 1,000. Then he had the GOAT throwing in the football, put up 1,000. You got Baker Mayfield throwing in the football, putting up 1,000. God damn, if Mike Evans played in a big city, he'd get so much recognition, but barely gets talked about. So I'm gonna talk about him. Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard season. Let's get it.
Well, all right. Look, yes, obviously, I don't give a damn if the Bucks win, the Saints, or the Falcons. It doesn't matter. Yes, the Bucks are in the driver's seat for sure playing the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. They're definitely in the driver's seat, but who knows? With this division, who the hell knows what the hell could actually happen? And it doesn't matter because they're frauds. They're not for real by any means. I do like if the Bucks go on to win the division, which I'm assuming they will. Like I said, playing the Carolina Panthers this Sunday. I think the Bucks do have a chance, like I said, against the Eagles. I really believe that they do have a legitimate chance against the Philadelphia Eagles. I would not give them that same chance against the Dallas Cowboys if it breaks that way for them. But it doesn't matter nonetheless. They're frauds. The Bucks, Saints, Falcons, Carolina Panthers, that whole damn division is absolutely terrible, and they're frauds. And it is what it is. That's how. There's nothing more to be said about that. Let's move on to the AFC real quick. For real frauds, the Miami Dolphins.
All right, let me go. I've been waiting for this, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the Ravens just did. Sean McVay was like, "Who cares? We're in the playoffs. We're not going to show them anything. Let's look stupid out there." Not literally wasn't the plan, but they did. Okay, but who cares? Miami Dolphins are legit. Yes, they had some sloppy games. Okay, I get it. Every team does, but don't think that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are going to do that every single Sunday. Okay. That was a great game by them. Salute to Baltimore. That being said, I'm rooting for you, Miami Dolphins. I hope you guys don't prove me looking like an idiot up here. Miami Dolphins are legit, and I'm hopefully they make it for in the playoffs because I really want them to make it for it, and I'm going to say legit. Go right ahead, guys.
Dolphins are fraud.
Adam.
Dolphins are fraud. Although I do happen to like Hard Knocks, but I think they're a fraudulent team. I think they're not gonna do anything because they lost Bradley Chubb. I think that's another thing that's gonna hinder that team. They don't beat big teams, and I think they're losing. I hate to say this to you, Dolphin fans. The Buffalo Bills are beating you for the AFC championship, which means they're gonna have a better record than you, and your ass is then gonna have to travel into cold Buffalo, where it's terrible, and go back there. Now this time you'll have Tua Tagovailoa. Let's see what will happen. I think the Dolphins are frauds, and we'll see what happens. Finally,
Who do I agree with? Who do I agree with? I'm sorry, Zion. I agree with Adam. Dolphins are absolutely frauds, in my opinion. This team has absolutely proven nothing to me all season, other than the fact, like NYG just said, they can beat up on bad football teams. Man, this football team has one victory this season against a team over 500, and that was just a couple weeks ago when they beat the Dallas Cowboys. And that game, it came down to the last drive. So this football team is absolute frauds, man. This team is not for real. And like Adam said, this team is probably, I think, has a strong chance to lose to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night and lose the AFC East division and not win the AFC East division which will drop them down all the way to the well, I don't even know where that would drop them down to at that point. I don't know if they'd be above Cleveland or not in the seedings, but nonetheless, this football team is frauds, man. They just haven't proven it this season to me. They prove they can just beat up on the bad. I mean, even when they threw the 70 points up on Denver, that was when Denver was playing absolutely putrid early in part of the season. I mean, this team it's just not. They're not legit, man. They're not. They're absolutely not. You can't sell me on this. This team is just, like I said. All they're good for is beating up on the bad football teams, and the injury bug has struck this team at a bad time. Like Adam was mentioning, the loss of Bradley Chubb, that's huge. That's going to be huge for this on that defense. Considering even with Bradley Chubb out there, it still wasn't even that good of a defense. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see too much in the Dolphins' future in this AFC postseason, man.
And let's not forget that the Bills played the Dolphins this season and blew the doors off them by 28 points. So I don't expect it to be a blowout like that. But this team, the Buffalo Bills, are licking their chops. They know they can play with this team. They're going down to Florida. I think the weather's going to be pretty nice there. They're going to get their nice tan on, get the playoffs on, win the AFC East, and say, "Hey, Miami, we'll see you in Buffalo the week later when it's going to be sub-zero degree temperatures, and you have to come up to our raucous crowd, our raucous environment, and we're going to kick you. We're going to beat you back-to-back weeks. You're going to see back-to-back beatdowns for the Miami Dolphins, back-to-back."
See, I don't see it like that. I see it as we can move on to, but I see it as a team that got damn near embarrassed. I mean, like they They're not winning against good teams. We could really tell that, but they barely won against the Jets. They barely won against the Dallas Cowboys, but they beat them. They won the game, and they got damn near embarrassed against the Baltimore. I think it's a team that like I think the head coach is legit, and like whoever says that the head coach is not legit is like, come on, bro. This guy's been around the Mike Shanahan tree, bro. He grew up helping this guy's run games for San Francisco and teams before that. So I think Mike is legit. I just think that this comes down to the team. Like, yo, boys, we just got embarrassed. So how do we come back and fight? Do we bend the knee and get embarrassed against Buffalo and get eliminated, or do we come back and fight? And I honestly think that the Miami Dolphins, yet they're not going to be the Dolphins as earlier because of the injuries and because of they're not going to put up 72 on any team right now. But I do think that they're going to make it a much tougher game than a lot of people are just dismissing them to, because it comes down to the heart of the team. And I believe that Mike gets his team in order and they come make it competitive for the final game of the season. What's up, Miz? Let's get it. But you guys could be totally right. Let's move on.
Well, all right. For real or frauds? The Kansas City Chiefs.
Right now, they're fraudulent. They got too much going on.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I said it a while back. I mean, like, you can't really do much. You know what I'm saying? If you can't move the ball on offense, and it's shown. Like, even if the Super Bowl, the playoff power comes in for Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean, like, it's still Travis Kelce's been injured. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't been looking 100%. The offensive line hasn't been looking 100%. The receivers hasn't been receivers the whole year. So the magic of Kansas City and the development of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they make it that far in the playoffs this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they get eliminated early, because even if that magic comes in, this defense is not as strong as it was last year as well. So they're frauds.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because even with the greatness that is Patrick Mahomes, man, this team has been absolutely struggling.
Who's coming
It's
to
no
that
fault
building?
of his. He's still the same great. He's still the same great quarterback that he's been. That he's been throughout his whole entire career. But his receivers are doing him no favors, leading the league in drop passes. This team is absolutely frauds this year. I mean, Travis Kelce with the lack of
And yet,
receiver talent on that
he still throws
roster,
for 4,100 yards.
he's getting defended. He's getting defended in different ways, and he's not quite as effective as he's very effective. Don't get me wrong, but he's not quite as effective because teams can kind of dial in on him a little bit more defensively and take him out of games a little bit. So this team is frauds, and I think they're going to struggle in the AFC playoffs, and I don't see much in their future as well, man, especially with some of the other top teams in the conference, man. So
I'm not getting caught up with this.
absolutely got the Chiefs down as frauds. As weird as it sounds.
Taylor Swift has nothing to do with that team outside of just being in the stands. I mean, come on. Buffalo will be the team that represents the Super Bowl.
Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go. So let's go for real or frauds with the Cleveland Browns.
For real, because their defense is the shit. Their defense has legit Hall of Famers on there. Myles Garrett. I don't care what people say. That guy is having a Hall of Fame type of season, Hall of Fame type of career right now. And it's not just him; he's doing it up. And they got a quarterback off the street who most people. He has 14 sacks, by the way, folks. 14 sacks this year, so he's having a beast of a year. He is going to be a beast. I think Joe Flacco has stabilized them and given them enough, and he plays very well in that system. And I think he's not going to do anything to fuck it up. He also helps you in that he's better than PJ Walker in terms of taking care of the football. And I think they're a legitimate sleeper. Here, Zion said it best, Miami Dolphins. No. How about the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl? How about that right there for you, folks? That would be something crazy. I don't think you're going to see Detroit there.
That would be awesome.
But the Cleveland Browns do have a shot at getting to the Super Bowl because their defense is that fierce. And it would not shock me to see them in the AFC Championship game, not necessarily against the Baltimore Ravens, but them hosting the AFC title game. And man, getting that curse of the drive of the Elway-led Browns and finally punching their ticket to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't it be a story for that team? I'm pulling for your Browns. I think you guys are for real, and it's because of your defense.
Yeah, like you can't make this up, huh? It's like when Joe Flacco is at his end of his career, he just has Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You just carry him to a Super Bowl, huh? And then if you look at it, well, again, you got the Cleveland Browns just playing outstanding on defense and absolutely legit. I mean, like I don't have to repeat it. I mean, like Joe Flacco, I'm not saying you get lucky. I mean, like you put yourself in situations to be available, but then yet again, a ultimate game manager comes in, salutes to you, Joe Flacco. But I want to be surprised because look what Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and I know I'm just mentioning them two, but look at that defense that year, and then compare it to this defense this year. I know it's night and day, but at the end of the day, they have a defensive force that could clearly make it to the Super Bowl. And Adam is right. That's crazy, huh? Let's get it though.
Joe Flacco is my age. He's about to turn 39, and he has a legit shot at taking their team to the Super Bowl. He's thrown 300 yards in the last 3 games. He gets to his old ass gets to rest this week. But man, good for you, Cleveland. Good for you, Cleveland Brown. Good for you, Detroit Lions, for finally getting off the schneid, getting the play. Now do something with it.
Look, the Cleveland Browns are as for real as it gets. They are as for real as it gets. The defense is championship ready. That is what held this season together. Joe Flacco was just that glue. He's been the feel-good story of the league now. Kind of came in and become the feel-good story. He's come in. He's done what he's had to do. Like you said, not making the terrible mistakes that cost the Cleveland Browns games. And he's done exactly what they wanted him to do when they brought him in. You know, they needed a guy that could weather the storm through all the adversity they had been dealing with this season, with Deshaun Watson going down with the injury and everything. And they knew they had a championship level defense. They knew that they had that, and they did not want to waste what they had on that side of the football. So they brought an old vet in, a guy that knows his way around, and just good enough. He's not a superstar by no means. He's not likely to be a Hall of Famer or anything, but he's still a guy that you know, he's got some serious experience. He's got a lot of seasoning on him, you know, and he knows what it takes to get the job done. I mean, he's been there before. He's been in a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl. Let's not forget, Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl champion. So at the end of the day, this guy knows what it takes, and he's got the experience, and he knows what he has on that defensive side of the football. The Cleveland Browns, to me, are my dark horse favorite to come out of the AFC, man, because they are a team that seems to be on a mission right now. So I love everything about the Cleveland Browns right now, and I will be rooting for them hard. And I think this team is absolutely as legit as it gets.
This guy saying I'm older. I sound older. Come on, man. Whoa. What's going on? Maybe it's the voice.
Storybook ending though. Has there ever been a quarterback in the history of the NFL to win 2 Super Bowls with the same team the 2 different teams in the same division? Because if you think about it, like everybody, well, at least my mind goes as Baltimore representing. Yeah, my mind goes as Baltimore representing. But if the Cleveland Browns can somehow beat Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, and Joe Flacco beats his old team, and then that'd be crazy, you know, because he not only win on the Baltimore, but he also win on the Browns, and they play in the same division. No Super Bowl, no quarterback has ever done that, right?
No, I don't think so.
Not to my knowledge.
Because most teams wouldn't trade a quarterback in division. Joe Flacco's bum ass happened to be on the couch. And they were just like, well, we need somebody. And by happenstance, because he played so long, here he is with a chance to do that. To be in the trivia history books, as Zion just said.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's get it.
Well, all right. One more for the AFC. For real or frauds, whoever wins the lowly AFC South division. I
At
shouldn't
least
say
they're,
low.
at
They're
least
better
they're
than the
better than
NFC
the
South,
at
but it's
least
still
they're
not
better
good.
than the NFC. At least they're better than the NFC
It's
South.
better than the NFC South, but
Not by much, but at least they're a little bit tougher in that division. I still think they're fraudulent. I would have said that the Jaguars were going to be good, but they kind of fell off a cliff at the end of the day. I just don't think they're ready right now. I think they're a year away. I think they made it. I think they have to retool a little bit because there's still some big guns in the AFC. If they wanted to make their mark, this would have been the year to do it. Kansas City is not the team that they were. I think Kansas City will bounce back next year when they get another receiver and a couple more pieces on offense to kind of help out a complementary player too. Because what they're missing on Kansas City is basically a number one receiver. They're a guy that's reliable for. That's not a tight end. Tight ends aren't your number one. Can't have them as number ones. Doesn't work anymore. You actually need bona fide studs. But the Colts, I like the Colts because of Gardner Minshew, and I love what C.J. Stroud's doing there. Gives me motherfucking hope that when we get a quarterback, we'll have like a Texian kind of resurgence. But C.J. Stroud's that guy. I'd love to see him in there, but we'll see, man. I think it really depends on like the Colts are the team that has the most balance, right? They can kind of pass. They have a decent run game. The Texans have a up-and-coming quarterback. They play hard on defense. And then the Jaguars I think their expectations should be a little bit better than they are. And the fact that they're down in the middle of the pack and trying to win this division, I thought they would have blown the doors off. So I kind of called them fraudulent as well.
It's tough. I mean, like I probably agree with most of what Adam said, but it's tough too when you come down to like the Jacksonville is because it's like
Evan Ingram.
Does the playoff magic happen with Trevor Lawrence, the prince that was promised? Man, I think no. I think it's gonna be one of those. Don't misinterpret me. I'm not comparing him to the guy, but I'm comparing him to what the guy did. Andy Dalton.
Oh my
kind of
God.
took the Bengals to the playoffs like over and over and over again, and then just couldn't really accomplish anything in the playoffs. I think that's gonna be Jacksonville for a while. And Adam is kind of right. It's like this was the year to do it. Kansas City ain't as strong, but then you also got Baltimore that's super strong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's always gonna be tough for the Jacksonville Jaguars to get over the hump. Maybe they build it absolutely fire next year and come back, but I do believe they make the playoffs. They get eliminated again. And I can see that. I think they're a couple years off from really putting something together. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is one of those Andy Dalton moments where they're always consecutively in the playoffs, but they can't put it over the hump. That's what I see Jags. But I do see Trevor Lawrence eventually somewhere down the line winning the MVP, and I do have faith that he will eventually get one, but it is going to be a while.
Well, look, the Colts, Texans, to me, man, look, they're good stories, but let's face it, man, nobody expecting them to be even probably really in this position that they're in right now. Jacksonville clearly far and away has the superior talent within this division, and to me, it shouldn't even really be this close. They should already have this division locked up. They should already have their playoff spots secured. And they're a disappointment to me, and they're definitely a fraudulent football team. I don't really want to necessarily go there with the Colts and Texans. I'm not saying they're for real or anything. I just think they both are two teams that have played far above their expectations this past season, and they both two teams that had really good years considering what people expected from these teams this season. So to me, it really comes down to the Jaguars as just being a really fraudulent football team. They just seem to never be able to get it done when it really matters the most. I mean, this team, it's. I mean, I know they had the big playoff win last season, the big comeback win against the Chargers in the postseason, but this team this season, man, it's been really weird. They've been a weird football team, and I think whoever comes out of this division they're not Super Bowl bound. I'm sorry, I just can't see it. I think they're absolutely frauds, no matter who it is. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, I don't really like to really consider the Colts Texans frauds because I think they have already played above what the expectations anyway people had of them. But I think I got to go with the frauds here on this one. I just don't see the AFC South winner making too much noise in the postseason. But real quick, Miz, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, no, it was something I thought about with Evan Ingram, man. When you said, we quit on him, we didn't use him right. I mean, I don't know about quitting on him so much, but at the same time, Evan Ingram came into this league, 2017, first round draft pick for the New York Giants.
23rd
And
overall.
he did have a he had a pretty strong rookie season, considering Eli Manning still at the helm, the quarterback then. And then in 2018, I'm trying to remember, but then he had some injury issues, I believe, but he was still, looking like a promising prospect, you know what I mean, with Eli Manning at the helm. And it seems like his career just kind of with the Giants kind of did plateau. Coincidentally, you know what I mean, when another guy came in here and took over the reins.
Hmm.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you know what I mean.
I wonder who you could
I think
possibly
you
be
know
talking about.
what I'm talking about and where I'm going with where I'm going there. But I'm just saying, Evan Ingram, congratulations, having a great season down in Jacksonville. You know,
Because of Trevor
doing some things
Lawrence,
that we wish you could have seen him do in Giant Blue.
and he
But
gets somehow he's
so
better.
you know,
Go figure.
I mean, yeah. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, AFC South winner, absolute frauds to me, man.
Just to say this,
And
I don't care if we win. The objective remains the same: draft a quarterback.
That's
Period.
quarterback.
I absolutely agree. It's time. It's absolutely time for a new era in New York Giant for the New York Giants, and it starts with the quarterback position, man. The most important position on the field. Monday, guys. You know the regular season comes to an end this Sunday, man. The regular season will come to an end, and you know what Monday is infamous for. You know, Black Monday. Any moves you expecting to see on Black
Ron
Monday
Rivera.
this year?
Bill Belichick retires.
No, Ron Rivera fired right out the gate. He'll get his pink slip as soon as the game's over.
Damn.
Okay. Let me address this. Address this real quick. Stop with this crying about a trade up. We traded for Eli Manning. How did that work out for us? Relax in the trade up. People getting all scared about.
I just want to address this, Professor. I want to address this, and I don't want to drag this on and open up a whole Pandora's box. But here's the thing. It's not like we didn't try to get an O-line the last 10 seasons. And at the end of the day, if we trade up, I get it. You have to build the team before you get a quarterback. But if we try to acquire an O-line in the first line, guess what? We tried that. We tried that over and over and over and over again. What we need is to get an offensive lineman coach to actually coach the people and get O-line in here that actually wants to play and coach them up. And then we need to spend it on the quarterback. Enough said. That's just my opinion.
I think Wink Martindale and Kafka are gone as well on Black Monday. When you're saying things like, oh, well, if we had our druthers, we would leave, that tells me you want to leave. You just need to be either escorted out the building or asked to be a head coaching job. So there's some turmoil in our team, even though they don't want to bring it up. Everyone thinks it's hunky-dory, but it's not. And Zion's right. We've brought in the most linemen of any team in the last 4 seasons, and yet we have bad O-line play. So,
yeah, that wasn't addressing anybody in the chat like unpopular. That was just saying, like, because I hear it on Twitter a lot. Like a lot of people saying, I don't really go on Twitter, but I hear a lot of Giants fans saying we need to keep Daniel Jones. We need to get an O-line. Guess what, guys? We're over that. We're over that. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is this: you have to go and get a quarterback. You trade up and get one. All right. If this quarterback brings you Lombardis, are you going to care about the compensation? Do I really care about Sean Merriman right now? Do I really care about Mike Nugent right now? No. I care that Eli Manning brought me 2 fucking Super Bowls in my lifetime. Stop with this dumb nonsense. It costs money to get a good player, so go up and get one. What you're advocating is let's go reach for a quarterback. Let's draft our fucking O-lineman. Let's draft our guy, and then we'll pick some guy in the 3rd round that we develop. That doesn't always work out that way. If you have a chance to get a good player, and there's a lot of them in this draft, and if you're in the top of the draft, you're going to have an opportunity to get one, go fucking get one. I'm tired of this shit. Start the rebuild process and get a guy come in here. Let's do this already. Stop trying to be cute with it. The O-line is not necessarily you saw what Tyrod Taylor did with the same booty ass O-line. He still made plays downfield. Give me a fucking break. We still had a chance to win that game with the booty ass O-line. Oh, and I'm about to drop a nugget on you right now. Guess what the worst O-line in football was in 2011? 32nd ranked O-line in football. You know who it was? Ding, ding, ding. The New York fucking Giants. You know what they ended up doing that year? Oh, I don't know. Winning a fucking Super Bowl? Come on. You know why they won that Super Bowl? Let me guess. There's a guy, his name starts with E and his last name starts with M. Eli Manning. That's why he had an MVP type season that year. So quit fucking worrying about this shit. Get the quarterback and go.
Fusan on the quarterback.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with the coaching. You got to coach these guys up at now. You got to get them coached up, man. I mean, there's a disconnect there. You just not gonna. All these guys are not bust. All these guys were not bad draft picks. I mean, you just can't convince me of that. There's got to be something going on with the coaching, man. At some point, you can't just keep investing high ass draft picks in the exact same positional group and thinking you're going to get different results.
Here.
You got to change up. You got to get a coach in there that can get the most out of these guys and get these guys, guys to have the number one offensive line of football. Just be respectable, be average. You know what I mean? That's all I need. You know what I mean? And get a good quarterback in there that can make some things happen. And
go back
right now, this team is, and we can't ignore the fact that quarterback is also a problem. We can't keep ignoring the fact that the quarterback is an issue. We keep trying to say the offensive line is horrible, and I do agree with that. The O-line is absolutely ass, and it needs work. And get the quarterback position on this football team is also not right. That's not right. It's not. You can't. It's not right. Of course, these guys are in the NFL. So anybody, if you have a perfect offensive line, of course, these guys are in the NFL for a reason. Any quarterback will look great behind a perfect offensive line. I mean, it can look good behind a perfect offensive line, but it's not. That's not the world we live in. You know what I mean? It's not the world we live in. So we got to get a quarterback that's competent and can make things happen.
First off, unpopular. I'm about to drop a little nugget on you, but first, let's go back to this offensive line. Okay, guess what Dak Prescott did against the Lions? There was a free blitzer coming in and missed him. You know why? Because Dak Prescott evaded that guy. And what did he do? He rolled out, jumped off his foot, and threw a 92-yard touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb. Off his foot. Do you think he has the best O-line in football? You know what he did? He avoided the rush. He reset himself, and he threw the ball downfield. What are you saying, Adam? What I'm saying is good quarterback play can help out an offensive line, as we've seen already. So stop worrying about the fucking draft like this. I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? 2004. Go back and watch that draft, unpopular opinion, because everybody was doing the same thing you were. Oh, my God, we gave him too much money. And guess what? We got 2 Lombardis out of it. So you're really worried about this? And who said you're mortgaging the future? There is free agency before the draft as well. Just because you go and get picks doesn't mean you're going to always mortgage the future. I'm just done with people thinking that it's so one-sided. Like, this move for the quarterback is about the future. It's not about 2024. It's about 2025 and beyond. It's about trying to build a perennial contender every year and not trying to be happy about mediocre play when my quarterback throws 15 fucking touchdown passes. All right.
I look at it like this way too. It's like, this is not that unpopular or anything like that. The only reason why I brought it up is because, like, when you listen to a lot of Giants fans, it's always an excuse at the end of the season on why Daniel Jones didn't perform. At the end of the day, it's really dated and it's really old, okay? When you get picked 6th overall, guess what? There's a lot of quarterbacks that don't even get the opportunities that Daniel Jones got. And I'm not even trying to make this about Daniel Jones. But at the end of the day, it's both faults. It's Daniel Jones' fault and it's the team's fault. But guess what? Daniel Jones still got paid regardless. But it's dated. The conversation's real dated. At the end of the season, again, we hear the same conversations of we need an O-line. And if you get an O-line, then the receivers can get open. Or we need a number 1 receiver. And now we need a tight end. And all this kind of nonsense. At the end of the day, no, what you really need is you really need to just reset. And how to reset is Brian Daboll inherited a quarterback in Buffalo. Brian Daboll also inherited a quarterback in the Giants. And at the end of the day, and the only reason why he inherited that quarterback is because Daniel Jones at the last minute called John, like, I really want to play on this team. So John worked his magic with Joe Shane, and Joe Shane wasn't available to make a full decision. Do we pay him? Do we not pay him? That's why it came down to the wire. They need to reset. They need to get the quarterback. That's what's going to happen. And this year's different.
Sorry,
man. Go fast, Adam. This year's different because there's quarterbacks to be had in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there's quarterbacks and there's a lot. Go right ahead, Adam.
First off, I dropped the nugget on you in 2011. He had the worst offensive line in football. Number two, they didn't have an O-line. You know what they did in 2004? I mean, you are a fan who is older than me. You should know this by now. In 2004, they got the quarterback, had a horrible year, went 5-4. Guess what they did the next year once they knew they had their quarterback? They went out and got Plaxico Burrison. Oh, let me guess. Oh, they got Kareem McKenzie. And their O-line coach was Jim McNally. You know who's on that offensive line? Let's go. Second round pick Chris Snee, undrafted Rich Schoibert, fifth round pick.
This is what we're gonna do with Fast Adam. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna. I told Unpopular when I was talking to him last time. Like, you know, we have to. I do want to talk to you guys about this. Not this show, but coming up, we're gonna bring some people on because I do want Unpopular. He's a big Blue Crew fan. You know, I do want him to come on and not only, you know, debate you, but not even debate you.
Can I cook my point first before
defend
you
himself?
before
You know,
bring people on the show.
Not now. I'm just saying in future, maybe next week or something, he can come on and you and him can go give you guys points. But of course, you can finish.
Now, I don't even know where I was going with that because I was interrupted too.
I interrupted you.
Bring on NYG22. You're welcome to come on the show. My point is, you go back to that realm of when Eli Manning was drafted. They didn't have an O-line that was established. They don't have an O-line that was established. Okay, they had to bring in guys after the fact. Okay, and then that O-line wasn't that good until 2008 anyways. So don't tell me they didn't mortgage the farm. You know who they got the next year in that draft after they got up? They got Corey Webster and fucking Justin Tuck. They still built through the draft. This nonsense of we're mortgaging you the future. What future? The Giants have sucked for years. Okay, you're inheriting on your future. If you draft a quarterback, you pick him and he's the right guy, and then away you go. There's also free agency. There's also trades that can be made. It doesn't just stop because you draft a quarterback in the first round. Open your damn eyes, people. This is called roster building. This is the future of the team. You guys think about the 2024. I'm thinking about beyond that, and I'm done. Now we can close the show.
Look, with a quarterback. With a quarterback, you get the right quarterback, bring what it means to your football team. I mean, you got a prime example of that this season. I mean, the Houston Texans sat at the number 2 overall pick this past year in the draft in April for a reason, because they were one of the absolute worst teams in football a year ago in 2022 during 2022 season. One of the absolute worst teams. They had number 2 overall pick. They took C.J. Stroud, and this team is now fighting on Sunday for a playoff spot. For a potential playoff spot and division championship. Just like that. Their roster is not exactly completely overhauled, a whole lot different than it was a year ago. The biggest difference is C.J. Stroud. Joe Burrow, a few years back, number 1 overall pick, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 1 overall pick because the Bengals were absolutely terrible. Number 1 overall pick 2 years later in the Super Bowl. With a horrible offensive line, like Adam was also just saying about the Giants in 2011. The quarterback is an impact, as it has the most impact, man. You got to get your guy, and whatever it takes to get that guy, I'm down for whatever it takes. I wouldn't preferably want to be, trading too much draft capital, but at the end of the day, gotta do what you gotta do to get your guy, and. If you feel really good about a guy, this is the draft to go out there and get him, man. You got to go out there and make something happen. The quarterback position has been an issue with the New York Giants for the entire tenure of one Mr. Number 8. It's been an issue. It's been a problem.
You go get your guy.
Wide open to it this year. My eyes got wide open to it this year because Daniel Jones, who played roughly damn near almost the whole first half of the season. Just about, not quite, maybe not quite the whole first half, but close enough. You see, you bring in Tyrod Taylor with the same fucked up offensive line, yet its offense still isn't great, but that's for other reasons, it's for different reasons, but at the same time, it looked more competent. The offense looked a lot more competent, even when playing behind the offensive line. Okay, I'll take it a step further. You bring in undrafted rookie free agent Tommy DeVito. And yes, he wasn't throwing up necessarily gaudy numbers either, but it still looked like a more competent offense, even with him running it, than it did with number 8 running it.
Well, we can't mortgage
it's time. That is it. You can't go out and depend on number 8 anymore for this football team at the quarterback position. This season was my full-blown revelation. I gave this kid every opportunity I could personally give him. I can't do it anymore.
Listen,
I can't watch that anymore. He's scared. He plays scared. He doesn't. He doesn't have what it takes to play quarterback for the New York Football Giants. Maybe he can go get his
you have
career
no
on track
idea.
somewhere
You have no
else.
idea who's in this draft. Don't give me that crap.
But this upgrade, it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Don't tell me about you don't know about Andrew Luck and any of this
What's going on,
stuff. You get a
Buko?
guy. You go trade for a guy. Stop with this nonsense. Stop being afraid to trade the farm. You trade a couple first round picks. Who the fuck cares if that guy brings you a Lombardi in a couple of years? Stop with this. You're not going to remember those fucking first round picks, whoever they are, if they don't even pan out. If this guy pans out, let's say you get Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams or who the fuck you get, and he comes in 4 years, we're fucking hoisting a Lombardi. Are you going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe we gave him 2 first round picks? No, you're not. You're going to be like, thank God we got that guy. Thank God we did whatever the fuck it took to get that guy.
I think this is first off, I just want to apologize to Adam. I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier, but I think this is a perfect cliffhanger for the show. Also too, because I do want to throughout the year. Let me just say this, guys. Jeff is never ever going to be replaced. Jeff is always going to be the fourth host, so that's why we choose not to have host on the show, and we all agreed on that to begin with. But we all gonna, throughout the year, we all gonna bring on guests and give them some segments. Maybe not for the whole show, but for the majority of it. So I do wanna bring Unpopular on because I know me, Adam, and Mac, we do have our strong feelings on getting a quarterback because I really do feel that this is the year to get one. There's a lot of quarterbacks that if Andrew Luck was a 10, they're a 9.995 or they're a 9.5, and there's a lot of quarterbacks that we can serve up in this draft can easily represent us in a Super Bowl in the next 5. And I really do believe that. And that being said, it's about building the legacy and building the dynasty rather than just getting one and done. Daniel Jones we dramatized him. He got the bag, he robbed us, but at the end of the day, he's going to be holding the clipboard next season. He's going to be competing for that starting job. We'll see what happens. But that being said, I do want other Giants fans and people part of the community, Big Blue Crew, or whether you're not a part of the Big Blue Crew and you're just a Giants fan, or whether when we start talking about the NBA or other sports, I do want you guys to come on and absolutely and give your points because at the end of the day, we may all feel a certain point and be headstrong on the quarterback, and then maybe someone like Unpopular, instead of trying to type like he's doing an essay in high school, he can come on and voice his opinion as well. We'll talk to the boys on maybe next week episode or maybe the episode after that. But I know we all get me and Adam. You should see sometimes I have to apologize to him because I get really hyped up when we talk on the phone sometimes, and I know we're all fanatics, you know what I'm saying? So that being said, I say we end the show here soon, and unless you guys have any other thoughts or any final thoughts about the matter.
Nah, we about to end it, but I just wanted to say one more thing about all of this. Like I feel you, my homie. Unpopular opinion. Definitely you are the homie for sure, and I hear what you're saying. But all this, the one thing also, I think we're getting too ahead of ourselves anyway. The New York Giants are sitting in the 5th spot of the draft right now. There's not even necessarily a reason that we would necessarily have to trade up. It's not even a guarantee that we would need to do that. Sure, you don't know what other teams are going to do, trying to get in front of you or whatever. Stuff happens. Things happen fast in the draft. But there's a possibility the Giants could sit right where they're at and still get their guy. But it just they have to, or get a guy. And no matter what, they're still in a position to get one of the guys. You know what I mean? Hopefully it can be the one that they actually really truly want, not like somebody they're kind of settling for. But at the end of the day, they're sitting in a good spot. We don't know what Chicago's going to do right now. Justin Fields has played great football through down the stretch of this season. Who knows? Chicago might say, you know what? Taking the number 1 pick, still going to keep the number 1 pick. We're going to get some offensive linemen. We're going to get some O linemen in here to protect our franchise quarterback. So we don't. In teams like that, no things change the dynamic of the draft anyway. So we might just sit in number 5 spot and still get the guy we truly want. At the end of the day, man, it could happen. I'm hoping in a perfect world that's what happens. You know what I mean?
So if you want to make money, you got to spend a little money.
How that goes out.
I would say there's a lot of different choices this year that there wasn't in years past. What you want, this kind of candy, or you want that kind of candy? You want that
Listen,
kind? There's a lot of different choices.
I broke it down like this. Daniel Jones has been like that old car you got in college, okay? Right? You got it, you were excited, you put money into it, you're excited to drive it around, boom, you take it on road trips. The next year, it kind of falls apart. You put some money into it, it holds up, but it's not really that reliable. But hey, you know, it's a car. The next year, the same thing. You keep putting money into it, it keeps letting you down, but you know what? It's your first car. You don't want to let it go, right? You don't want to let it go. Then next year, you put all this money into it, and it kind of semi works. And you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this. And then you're like, you know what? Next year I'm going to improve it even more. I'm gonna put in a new engine. I'm going to do all this good stuff, and the car still breaks down. That's Daniel Jones. He's a broken down car. Now you have the ability right now to go get yourself a new car. You have the ability to go get yourself a new ride, a new whip, fresh off the fucking showroom floor, and not some hand-me-down car that is breaking down left and right. Go get that Maserati. Go get that, whatever car you want. That's what you have a chance to do right now. Let's go change the franchise. Because I'm just tired of sitting here and worrying about, a trade up, the future. Oh, the future's been shitty. The past has been shitty. The future can only get bright. And I say this, and I leave you with this, folks. 10 years ago, on April 21st, 2004, the Giants traded for what we call now the franchise player Eli Manning. They were fourth in the draft. They drafted Phillip Rivers, traded him to San Diego. They gave up first pick in 2005, a third round pick in 2004, and they gave up all these picks. You know what? You know what happened? We won the Super Bowl. We won it twice. Don't let that scare you. It's the anniversary of Eli Manning. See you later.
Yeah, and I want to end it with this too. Like, you get a quarterback this year by his third year in. We're gonna have so much money. We're gonna have so much money to spend on the team. Like, it's 5-year contract. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. The last half of those contracts when we can actually go spend money. It's gonna be fantastic because we're gonna have a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Well, all right, everybody. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the first episode of 2024, the Premium Takes Podcast. And they know they're going to be coming right back at y'all each and every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. Definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's been a great show. Our special NFL kind of playoff special, getting y'all a little bit ready for the playoffs. It gets real, man. It definitely gets real in the next couple of weeks, man. We'll see who wants it, man. Who's going to be in that Super Bowl? Who's going to get after it, man? It should be fun. Should be enjoyable. I hope everybody's a very blessed 2024, man. Happy New Year to everyone.
Not for a
Throw them fours up for my guy, NYG, Jeffy T. Throw them fours up, man, for our guy, man, our fallen angel, man. Jeffy T, NYG, Jeffy T, man. No doubt indeed, man.
Unpopular, so keep putting money into that Winnebago, hoping that it'll run for him.
This has been the Premium Takes Podcast.
Much love, bro.
Pass.